You're learning with 9 to 5 English. Business English for the workplace. Hi, Tim here with another 9 to 5 English lesson. Today, we're going to learn some expressions for answering the phone in English. Using the telephone is an important part of business. But the way we communicate is a little different from in-person conversations. We have some special expressions we use to answer the phone, ask for clarification, and get a call back. At the start of a phone call, it's a good idea to make sure the other person knows who you are. You can identify yourself in a few different ways. Besides saying, "My name is," we often use the expression, "this is," before our name. But don't try to use this expression in person. I only say, "This is Tim," when I'm talking on the phone. Let's practice identifying ourselves at the start of a phone call. Listen to each example, then repeat it for yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
Hi there, this is Jason Locke calling from Milton Enterprises.
Oh, hello. My name's Wendy Chambers with BMA Bank.
Good morning, Dirk here. How can I help?
Hello, Francine speaking.
As you can hear, we identify ourselves not only when we call someone else, but also when we answer the phone. To do that, we just say something simple, like, "Tim here," or "Tim speaking." Now, because we only have a person's voice on the phone, there's a higher chance we don't understand something. It might be a single word or a whole sentence that isn't clear. In this situation, you need to ask for clarification. You might ask, "Could you repeat that?" Or, "What was that?" Or you might simply say that you didn't catch something, which means you didn't hear correctly. Let's try some examples of asking for clarification. Remember to repeat the examples after you hear them.
Sorry, what was that?
Could you repeat that last part again?
Sorry, did you say 14 or 40?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
One very important word you heard several times in those examples is sorry. That word helps make our requests more polite. You also heard an example of asking for clarification between two similar words. In this case, you just ask, "Did you say X or Y?" Another common situation is when you need to talk about calling someone back. Maybe you called a business to talk to someone who's not there. Or maybe someone called your business to talk to someone who's not in. In any case, we need to arrange a callback. Polite ways to arrange a callback often use the expressions "could you" or "would you." For example, you might say, "Could you ask John to call me back?" Or, "Would you like Tom to call you back later?" And sometimes it's you who has to call someone back because you're busy or have a poor signal. In that case, you might ask, "Would you mind if I called you back?" Let's try some practice with asking for a callback using these expressions. Once again, repeat the examples after you hear them.
Could you have Dave call me back at this number?
Would you like me to ask Mary to return your call?
Please have Charlie call me when he's available.
Would you mind if I called you back in 15 minutes?
One useful expression that we just heard is to have someone do something. That is, you can say, "I will have Greg call you back tomorrow." That just means you are asking Greg to call the person back. Okay, so we've practiced some useful expressions, but how do these sound in a conversation? Let's listen to a short dialogue between Carly and Bob. Bob is calling Carly's office to talk with Jenny Schwartz, but Jenny isn't there. Let's listen.
Hello, Ace Business Machines.
Hi, this is Bob Turner. May I speak with Jenny Schwartz?
Sorry, but Jenny's not in the office right now.
Okay, could you have her call me back, please?
Does that make sense? Bob identifies himself and asks to speak with Jenny Schwartz. When Carly tells him Jenny's out of the office, Bob asks her to have Jenny call him back. Now it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the second speaker's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to identify yourself as Bob Turner and ask to speak with Jenny Schwartz. Then you'll politely ask Carly to have Jenny call you back. Ready? Here we go.
Hello, Ace Business Machines. Sorry, but Jenny's not in the office right now.
All right, that's all for this lesson. We've learned some great ways to identify yourself on the phone, ask for clarification, and talk about calling someone back. We'll be back soon with some more useful English expressions. Until then, so long and happy learning. You're learning with 9 to 5 English. Business English for the workplace. Hi, Tim here with another 9 to 5 English lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to end a phone call in English. Last time, we looked at lots of useful expressions for answering the phone and starting a call. But what about ending a call? If you've finished your conversation, what can you say to end the call politely? Well, for starters, one thing you want to avoid is just suddenly saying goodbye. To end a business call professionally, there are 3 simple steps to follow. First, you signal that you want to end. Secondly, you review your action points. And finally, you say goodbye. Now, signaling that you want to end a call often starts with a word like, well. so, or okay. These words show that you want to change the subject. Then you can thank the person and say you need to go, or make a general comment. Let's practice some of these ways of showing that you want to end a call. Listen to each example. Then, repeat it for yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
Well, I should probably get going.
It's been great to chat.
So, thanks for all the information.
Okay, I've got to run here.
As you can hear, these types of comments signal an end to the conversation. You might have noticed two different expressions that mean you have to leave a situation. First was, I should probably get going, and the second was, I've got to run. These are just friendly ways of saying, I need to leave. Now, a business call is like a little meeting. So, the second step in ending a call is reviewing the actions you've discussed. Often, this means stating what you will do next, like, I'll send you the file tomorrow. And if you want to confirm what the other person will do, or what you'll both do, you can turn your statement into a question using a tag. That might sound like, so you'll review the proposal next week, right? Let's try some other examples of reviewing next steps. Remember to repeat the examples after you hear them.
So I'll send you that file tomorrow, and you can let me know what you think.
All right, so we'll be chatting again next week, right?
I'll have that package sent off right away.
I'll look out for your email later today.
One expression you might have noticed there is I'll or I will have that package sent off, for example. What does it mean to have something done? It means you make sure the thing is done. It might be you, it might be someone else, but you will make sure it's done. All right, so you've signaled that you want to end the call, and you've reviewed next steps. Now you're ready to sign off or say goodbye. There are many ways to say goodbye in English. You can wish someone a great day or a good weekend or good luck with something. And we often say, take care, or mention when we'll talk again. Let's practice some more ways to sign off at the end of a call. Once again, repeat the examples after you hear them.
Have a great day. Bye now.
Take care, Amy. We'll talk again soon.
All right then, have a good weekend.
Good luck with your presentation.
Did you hear that expression, bye now? You might also hear people say, bye for now, or maybe, bye then. These are just common and friendly ways of saying goodbye. So, we've practiced some useful expressions, but how do these sound in a conversation? Let's listen to a short dialogue between Mark and Leslie. Both people are signaling they want to end the conversation and using expressions to sign off. Let's listen.
Well, I hope your interview goes well.
Thanks, Kevin. It's been great to chat.
For sure. Glad we could catch up.
All right then. Have a good weekend.
How did that sound? Leslie thanks Kevin for saying he hopes her interview goes well. Then she makes a comment about their conversation. Mark responds with his own comment, and Leslie signs off by wishing him a good weekend. Now, it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the second speaker's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to thank Kevin and say, "It's been great to chat." Then you'll wish him a good weekend after using the expression, "All right then."
Well, I hope your interview goes well. For sure. Glad we could catch up.
Well, that's all for this lesson. We've learned a 3-step process to ending a business call. This includes signaling you want to end the call, reviewing the steps, and saying goodbye. We'll be back soon with some more useful English expressions. Until then, so long and happy learning. You're learning with 9 to 5 English. Business English for the workplace. Hi, Tim here with another 9 to 5 English lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about prices in English. Business is all about money. The whole purpose of a company is to earn more money than it spends so that it can produce a profit. So it's not surprising that we spend a lot of time talking about how much things cost. Whether you're buying materials or reviewing a budget, you may find yourself frequently asking about prices or costs. The most common way to do this is with the expression, how much. So you might say, how much does it cost? Or, how much are you asking? In this case, the asking price is the seller's starting price. Of course, you might ask very directly about price with a question like, could you tell me the price? Or, what will it cost for something? Let's practice some of these expressions for asking about price and cost. Listen to each example. Then, repeat it for yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
How much are you asking for these printers?
Could you tell me the price on this machine?
What will it cost for 3 additional phone lines?
So, how much does it cost us to make each unit?
One interesting thing about the word cost, we can say the machine costs $5,000, and we can say it cost us $500 to fix the machine. So, a thing can cost money, and it can also cost you money. Now, if we can reduce costs, we can usually increase profit. So it's very common to state that something costs too much. You might say that something is too expensive, or that the price is high. But you might also say you can't afford something. Afford means to have enough money to buy something. Let's try some examples of saying something costs too much. Remember to repeat the examples after you hear them.
I'm sorry, but that's too expensive.
That seems really high compared to other companies.
I don't think we can afford that.
I'm afraid that's out of our price range.
Did you hear that last example about price range? Your price range is the amount you have to spend on something, like $200 to $250. An item can be in your price range, meaning you can afford it, or it can be out of your price range, meaning it's too expensive. If something is too expensive, naturally, you would suggest lowering the price. To do this, we normally use polite and indirect language. We don't just say, "Lower the price." Instead, you might say, "Would you take a lower price?" Or, "Is there any way we could bring the price down?" Or, if you're talking about your company's costs, you could say, "Let's see if we can reduce costs." How about some practice with suggesting lower prices and costs? Once again, repeat the examples after you hear them.
Let's see if we can reduce these costs by 20%.
Would you take $500 per unit instead?
Is there any way we could bring down the price?
How about knocking $40 off that price?
One informal expression you heard was to knock money off a price. For example, if someone asks for $100 and you want to pay $80, you can say, "Could you knock $20 off?" All right, we've practiced different ways of talking about costs, but how does this sound in a conversation? Let's listen to a short dialogue between Matt and Liz. Matt is trying to buy a machine from Liz.
How much are you asking for this unit?
That one is going for $3,500.
That's out of our price range. Would you take $3,000?
I'll have to talk to my manager about that.
Pretty simple, right? Matt starts with the question, "How much are you asking?" Then When he hears the asking price of $3,500, he tells Liz it's out of his price range and suggests a different price. Now it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the second speaker's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to start by asking about the price. Then you'll say it's out of your price range and ask if Liz would take $3,000. Ready? Here we go.
That one is going for $3,500. I'll have to talk to my manager about that.
Okay, that's all for this lesson. We've learned how to ask about price, say something is too expensive, and suggest a lower cost. We'll be back soon with some more useful English expressions. Until then, so long and happy learning.